All right, we're here in Hyderabad ahead of the second warm-up match against Pakistan. We've got Marnus Labuschagne in the hotel room here to discuss his inclusion in the World Cup squad and everything else. Marnus, welcome to the Unplayable Podcast.
Thank you, guys. Nice to be here. It's it's nice to another day in India.
You've just come from a photo shoot with the Getty team. They make you do lots of different funny poses there. How did it all go today?
Yeah, very good. Those things are pretty autopilot now. You sort of move in position before they tell you to. You know the drill. So that went pretty quickly, and nice day.
I want to ask about how you got the news that you were officially in the World Cup squad. Who delivered it, and how'd you get it?
There's probably a little bit like anticipation going. I think I might be in. Who delivered it? Andrew McDonald actually delivered the news. And then what did he say? I'm trying to remember the conversation we had. He actually tagged me in a conversation we had earlier that said, you were right, you're in. So it was, I can't remember the conversation actually.
Pull it up on you, out of your messages. Yeah.
It was here we go. What I did say is, so it was when I was included originally in the squad, and obviously we planned that I was going to play Australia A and do all these other, bits and pieces, and it was going to be, good opportunity, and then we scrapped that, and I messaged Ron when he messaged me going, mate, yeah, here comes South Africa. I said, sounds good, mate. You can't get rid of me. You can't get rid of me. Like every time they try, something happens and I'm playing, or someone gets injured, or there's another. And anyway, he just tagged that conversation and said, "You're right. We can't get rid of you. You're in." So it was a good message.
That's great. Did you think sitting back when you got included in that South Africa squad that you'd be here a month later in a World Cup squad, your first World Cup squad as well?
Once again, I can't really, I couldn't have predicted how it all unfolded and how it happened, but I was very confident, and I did tell selectors that when I wasn't included, I said, I really feel like I'm the guy for you guys to bat at number 4. I know I'm not there, I know I haven't performed like I wanted to, but I still think I'm the person. I didn't say I think, I said I know I'm the person for the job at that spot. And then from there, I worked hard at home on my one-day game, a few things I wanted to change, a few technical things, and just a few mental shifts as well. And I was feeling very confident, so it was just about if the opportunity was going to arise, because I felt very confident that I would take it if it did come. But it was just a matter of going, well, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If I'm meant to be here in India for the World Cup, it'll be, and if I'm not, then it's a win-win. I get to go home, spend time with my family, play domestic cricket at home, and it's still very good.
We've seen the stats over the last sort of 2 series. The dot ball percentage is down, the strike rate's up. Are those KPIs that you look at, or is it more, as you mentioned, like a mental shift and a few technical tweaks?
More feel. I think that's more a results-based thing, and I sort of let that take care of itself, because on different days, as we probably would have seen over the last 8 games, I played a lot differently in that first game in South Africa than I did in the last game against India. It was a little bit, had to sum up the situation, had to get a better understanding, had to take it deeper, had to craft a little bit on a slow wicket, because it was harder to just hit boundaries. So that part sort of takes care of itself. But for me, it was more about, just making sure that I'm showing intent. I'm really reading the game and I'm staying calm. And I felt like in series prior to that, just because I think the lack of one-day cricket in a row, so haven't playing off the big, playing 3 one-days after the Ashes, playing 3 one-days after Pakistan, after big test series, and I found the shift a little bit difficult. And I just feel like in those moments I was getting starts and I was going all right, but I just wouldn't be staying calm enough in those moments where it was like, actually, you can just absorb the pressure here and you can just take it deep. Where I felt like, oh no, I've got to score. And that just comes with the lack of play and not playing, especially batting in that, 4 position, because it can be so situational.
And what's sort of the messaging now that you're in the squad from Ronnie and the selectors and the other coaching staff? Is it that that 4 position is your own, and that's the position you're going to be batting throughout the World Cup?
We haven't really had much communication. I mean, most of the games I've batted at 4 for every game since, apart from the game I batted at 8 as the concussion sub. But so I mean that would be my assumption. If I was going to play, that's where I'm going to bat. But once again, what I've done really well is I haven't got caught up in what might happen or what's going to happen. It's just a matter of if I'm ready. If that's where I am come that first game against India, then it'll be.
And you mentioned that third ODI in Rajkot. Steve Smith and Mitch Marsh both said it was the toughest conditions they've ever batted in, the hottest. Was it the same for you, and is that what you're expecting for the whole tournament?
I'm not sure what to expect for the whole tournament in this time of year. I don't think I've been in India ever in this time, so it'll be interesting how that unfolds. I was probably lucky because they were batting like from about 2:30 till 4. And so I came in probably just after them. It was still very humid and very hot, but I probably wasn't as bad as they had it there. But obviously, batting at the back end, running a little bit harder, and you're swinging a bit harder. So that takes it out of you.
And first World Cup, you've obviously played the Test Championship final during the year. You would have watched loads of World Cups growing up. What are you expecting from this tournament coming up?
It's an exciting tournament, obviously. In India, kind of the home of cricket, in terms of fans. It's going to be epic. I think it's going to be a really good tournament. The conditions can be so different over here. You can play on really nice, bouncy, fast wickets. You can play on slow, spinning wickets where, when you go to Australia, the wickets are closer to generic. If anything, they might have a bit more in it early, but there's not too many times where you just, this is going to be a complete ragger or a complete spinner. So that's I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a great challenge, and I think we've got a great balanced team to take on this challenge.
And we want to also ask about your bowling. We haven't seen a lot of it in one-day cricket. We saw a little bit against the Dutch the other night. Are you a chance to get a few overs during the World Cup?
I hope so. I don't hope so, because if I'm not bowling, then we're obviously in a very good spot. But it's always something I'm working on. Probably neglected it a little bit, just with the sort of commitment and focus I've had on my batting over the last, let's say, year. But it's definitely something I really enjoy. I love bowling. I love being in the game. So hopefully, probably if I play tomorrow, then have a bit more of a bowl tomorrow, and just see how I go. Obviously, the 4 fielders out. It can be tough for a part-time leg spinner. So, for me, it's just about trying to be consistent and understanding my role.
And even off spinner if county cricket's anything to go by.
That's it. So hopefully we can see a bit of both. But like I said, whatever the skipper needs.
What are you rolling out at the moment though? We've seen leg spin, off spin, medium pace. You working on all 3 at the training?
No, just on the leggies and probably a little bit of the off spin to the left-handers as a sort of get out option if you're getting lined up to a short side. A little bit like I was in Bloemfontein to David Miller. That would have probably been a good option to go to them. I don't think there's going to be much option for the seamers in this tournament. Save them for red ball, county cricket when it's swinging, I think.
We heard Matt Maynard at Glamorgan talk about the off spin and how it was to do with at Queensland you've got Matty Kuhneman and Mitch Swepson who take the ball away from the right-handers. Is that the reason why you took it up?
Yeah, it's certainly like I've always wanted. I always probably wish that I bowled finger spin because it's probably a slightly easier craft for a batting all-rounder compared to bowling leg spin. It's always sort of, you never have the amount of time you need if you want to be, well, especially if you're like myself who loves hitting cricket balls, who trains a lot. It's really, it's a skill that, it's been pretty well documented that if you want to be good at bowling leg spin, you need to bowl a lot. And there's no other way around it. Where with finger spin, I think, you can kind of get away with not putting much revs on or just putting the ball there. If you can bowl a good length, you're still going to be tough to play. You can't just go, well, I'm just going to bowl this leggy with it, just put it down there because you just get met. Yeah. So yeah, my thinking was, like see if I can really develop and grow, and it probably didn't pan out the way I wanted to in England. The part about England is very hard when you're bowling off spin because it's so fast square of the wicket in England, so the ball just races away if you miss the stump. So it didn't probably go as planned, but it's still something that I've got in the locker if it's needed.
And, speaking of off spin, George Bailey said that Glenn Maxwell's as good as a specialist spinner the other day. Just how important is Maxie going to be to Australia's World Cup hopes in this tournament?
I think he's going to be a massive part. I think, just having a player that comes in that gives you three facets of the game, I think is massive. I think, obviously, a jet in the field, a very good bowler, and then obviously an X factor with the bat. So if he can provide on any given day, he's got three different opportunities to make an impact in the game. Where some people only have one or maybe two, to have three genuine opportunities to make an impact on the game really helps the team. The other night, one thing he's very crafty and he's a very good thinker of the game. He understands the game. And he also understands what batters want to do. And I think that's what really probably, if he's not as good in terms of skill-based, he makes that up tenfold with his game knowledge and understanding of what batters want to do.
You talked about a couple of your knocks in, or the 80 not out as a concussion sub earlier. Take us back to the century, the game after in the second ODI. What were the sort of emotions there? Second ODI century in South Africa as well. For me, it was just really that series. I just wanted to be in the moment of every ball. I didn't really want to get swept or taken forward. And I really tried to make it a focus that I was just, concentrating on each ball, real clarity around it, and just understanding that my innings is going to ebb and flow. And sometimes, you might have a couple of quiet overs, but just staying calm through that, and the game will open up. I was very happy with how I played there, the intent, the way I built a partnership there with Davey, I think it's just about doing it my way, and I think that's really, I think at times in the last year or so, I've sort of tried to play one-day cricket, not like me, and I think it's just about understanding your game, understanding how I go about it, and I can be very effective in my method. Could you feel that clarity out in the middle? Like, did you have a clear, thought process in the moment, decision-making kind of thing throughout those two series? Could you feel it out there in the middle?
Definitely, especially those first two games. I just felt like, and that, like you said, the Century and Bloemfontein, just felt real clarity, like positive, felt like which bowls I could score off, where I could score, my get out options when I felt like I needed a boundary against pace and spin. I felt like I had all those, and I felt like what I did well is I used those options at the right times, which in previous times I haven't always done that.
And just away from the cricket at the minute, the coffee club, and how's it all going with inside the Aussie cricket team for one, and you've got your own brand of beans as well, don't you? How's it all going on the business side of things?
The business side is just ticking along. It's just a passion project, to be honest. It's something that I love.
Do you want to give it a plug?
Yeah, the Run Club Coffee. We've paired with a great cafe in Albion, the neighbourhood cafe. So they roast our beans there, and they're unbelievable. So we travel with those beans around, and we've got a little coffee club. In the morning, I've got my machine here that I travel with, my personal machine. So any given morning, I'm making 25 to 30 coffees.
Really?
It's a busy morning. Sort of cafe will open at about 9:15, and then blokes will probably leave it around 11.
Right.
So it's a really nice environment. Davey adds a lot of energy to the coffee club, so he brings a lot of energy. Got a guitar as well in there, so got the boys, just nudging away, Smudge in the background. Mitch Marsh is obviously very good with the guitar.
Is he?
Yeah, very, very good.
Right.
So he's playing some songs, creating a relaxing environment in the morning. I think it certainly helps the morale, knowing that you can have a really good coffee in the morning, wake up and enjoy each other's company.
Who's the biggest coffee snob in the team, would you say?
Apart from myself? I think everyone's got an acquired taste of good coffee now. I mean, the original coffee club, which was Alex Carey, Steve Smith, Mitch Marsh and Sean Abbott were probably the originals, and since then, we've expanded a lot. We've expanded
whole
a
team by
lot.
the sound of
Yeah, well, probably about 10 to 11, I reckon, come through most mornings and have minimum two coffees. So
how many bags of beans for the whole tournament do you need then? It's a lot. So
I mean, to give you a number, I reckon. So when we were in Pakistan for, I don't know how long that was, but Pakistan we used about 60 kilos for the tournament.
Right.
So we've got, I don't know how many more bags we have over here, but I think we got some more coming as well. For a little mid-tournament insertion. Also trying to make sure the beans are fresh as well. So, you don't want to have beans here starting in South Africa and then having...
Oh, true. Yeah.
So,
it's a big operation.
It is. Big organisation.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's a lot of fun. I think the boys really enjoy having a good coffee in the morning, that's for sure.
Just a couple of generic ones to finish off with about the World Cup, Marnus. Who's going to be Australia's sort of World Cup MVP, most impactful? Who's your tip?
It's a real tough one. I think, probably there's a few that spring to mind. I think Adam Zampa's going to play a really big role, I think, for us. I think he's been really good over the last few years, and he's just been so consistent. So he's one I'd be looking for. And the other one I think it's been really playing really well is Dave Warner. I mean, Dave's been ticking along, and I think he's a big tournament player, and I think it's going to be a good World Cup for him as well.
And if you had to nominate an MVP from one of the non-Aussie teams, or who would you go for?
Geez, that's a tough one. I think obviously it's gonna, someone like Ravinder Jadeja can have a pretty big impact. Like I said, it's similar to the Glenn Maxwell. He's got three facets of the game that he can have impact on, and I think he can make a really big difference, and he brings great balance to a side.
Marnus, thanks for joining us on the Unplayable Podcast. All the best for the tournament.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.